Tonight, we are in Argentina's Liga Profesional for Deportivo Riestra against San Lorenzo. And this is one of those matches where the model and the market both point toward a very tight, very low-margin game. But the way they get there is interesting. Let's start with the numbers. My model gives Deportivo Riestra 1.34 expected goals and San Lorenzo 0.69. That translates into a home win probability of 43.9%, a draw at 42.6%, and an away win at just 13.5%. So right away, the model is saying something very clear. This is not a strong San Lorenzo spot. In fact, the two dominant outcomes are Riestra not losing, and the game staying very close throughout. The top projected scorelines are 1-0, then 0-0, and then 1-1. That alone gives you the basic shape of the match: low scoring, tight margins, and a much stronger home side case than the club names alone might suggest. The fair prices reflect that balance as well. Riestra and the draw are both live, while San Lorenzo come out as the least likely result by a wide margin. Over 2.5 goals sits at only 38.3%, and the expected corner count is modest too, at 8.71. So from a pure model perspective, this is not a game built for chaos. It is a game built for control, friction, and very few clean chances. Now let's widen the frame a little. The broader power numbers actually make this more interesting. On the power index, Riestra rates surprisingly well in this matchup. They sit 6th overall in the league table, while San Lorenzo are all the way down in 23rd. That is a big gap, but the form table tells a slightly different story. San Lorenzo are 12th in the recent form index, while Riestra are 23rd. So the long-term power profile leans Riestra, but the shorter-term trend gives San Lorenzo at least some argument that they are not walking into this in complete collapse. That contrast matters because it explains why this match can look one way on raw team strength and another way on recent rhythm. Now let's move into the football side of the game. Riestra, or the Malivo, are exactly the kind of side that distort matches. They do not need much possession, they do not need much attacking volume, and they do not need the game to look pretty. Their whole identity is built around shrinking the pitch, breaking rhythm, dragging opponents into an ugly fight, and forcing them to solve a game that has almost no flow. That style is part of the reason why the model likes them here. Their defensive profile is strong, their game states stay compressed, and they are very comfortable in matches where one goal can decide everything. San Lorenzo, on the other hand, come into this under a very different kind of pressure. This is still a big-name club, still one of the heavyweight institutions in Argentine football, still the Cyclone. But the current situation is much less stable than the badge suggests. There has been coaching change, there are structural issues in the squad, and the team is still trying to find an identity that feels coherent. That is not ideal against a side like Riestra, because when you face a team that wants to turn the game into a street fight, uncertainty becomes a real problem. And San Lorenzo are not arriving with clean certainty. They also have meaningful absences. That matters even more in a fixture like this, because a team already struggling for fluency loses even more margin when depth and continuity are hit. So while San Lorenzo may still have the bigger name and, on paper, more individual pedigree, this does not project like a match where pedigree alone is enough. What makes this especially interesting for analytically minded bettors is that the market is not treating this like a classic giant versus minnow game. Either, it is pricing the match as a close, awkward, low-scoring contest, and that makes sense, because almost every layer of the matchup points in that direction. Riestra's style points there, the score projections point there, the total goals number points there, and even the emotional texture of the game points there. This is the kind of fixture where the first goal could mean almost everything. If Riestra score first, the match can become extremely difficult for San Lorenzo to recover. The Malivo are built to protect narrow leads, slow the pace, and make every minute feel heavy. If the first half stays level, that only reinforces the draw angle and increases the tension around every set piece, every second ball, every mistake. And even if San Lorenzo have more technical quality in certain areas, this does not look like the kind of open match where that quality gets repeated chances to show itself. That is why the top score lines matter so much here. 1-0, 0-0, 1-1. Those are not random outputs. They tell you exactly what sort of match this is expected to be. A compressed game, few clean openings, and a very real chance that one moment decides everything. From a betting interest perspective, the cleanest analytical angle is still the low event profile. Understyle thinking makes sense here, even if the most obvious public instinct is to lean toward the bigger club. The draw is also very live, and if you want a side, The model is clearly telling you that Riestra deserve more respect than the badge comparison alone would suggest. That does not mean San Lorenzo cannot find a way through. They can. But if they do, it probably comes through patience, a moment of superior quality, or a set-piece edge rather than by blowing Riestra away, because nothing in this matchup suggests a comfortable away win. So when I put everything together, this is the final read. The model gives Riestra the edge. The draw is almost equally live. San Lorenzo are the least likely winner of the three. The strongest score cluster is 1-0, 0-0, and 1-1. And the clearest overall message is that this should be a tight, low-scoring, high-friction game. If you want the simplest summary, it is this. Respect Riestra. Respect the draw. Respect the undergame script. That is the read for Deportivo Riestra against San Lorenzo. If you want more model-driven match previews like this, subscribe to the channel. I break down power profiles, form signals, projected scorelines, and betting relevant game texture every round. See you in the next one.